Hello and welcome to the Learn How to See Better podcast, the only podcast out there known to actually improve your vision the longer you listen. This is your host, Drew Davis, and I'm glad you've joined me here today. I can't wait to share some great information with you about how to improve your health, wealth, and relationships. So let's get right down to it, shall we? Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is Drew Davis with the Learn How to See Better podcast, and I want to do something a little bit different today. I want to take you guys, maybe I'll take you down a rabbit hole and talk about today's topic and expand on it a little bit because I got a bunch of ideas, a little unstructured, but let's roll with it, shall we? So first off, I want to thank everyone for joining once again. If you're listening to this, I'm particularly appreciative of your attendance, support, and attention, as this is the 40th episode that I'm delivering to you all, and hoping that you're finding value out of each and every episode so far. And 40 is a big milestone for me because, hey, I'm 40 years old, 40 years young, however you want to slice it. So this one's a little symbolic, just for a representation of a little bit of continuity here on this journey of learning how to see better. So I want to thank you all for tuning in, whether this is day one or you've been tuning in since day one. Welcome and thank you. So for today, what I want to talk about is a subject called filters for focus. Yeah, I just came up with that, filters for focus. And why do we need filters for focus? Well, I'll tell you why. This has been sparked by a couple of different things I've either seen firsthand taking place, or that I've seen in individuals, and it becomes so relevant and so apparent that one of the ways we have to learn to see better is to learn how to develop a better sense of focus. And a lot of it just has to do with developing a good means by which we set up filters in our life to take out or take away certain distractions for us. So let's take, for example, case in point. You're feeling overwhelmed, right? I was talking to a client recently that experienced a whole lot of overwhelm, and they said that they feel overwhelmed. It's a drag on their mood. It's really a drain on their productivity. It's a drain on their creativity. It just has you feeling stuck. Like, what can I do? I feel overwhelmed. Well, typically when you think about the sensation that comes with overwhelm, right? It brings a feeling of anxiety, frustration, lack of self-worth, like you're not good enough, you're overwhelmed, you can't keep up, right? Well, let's think about what drives some of those feelings. Well, it's driven by having too much on your plate. Like, imagine if you had to eat 3 steaks. You might love steaks, but after that first or second one, that third one's not looking so appealing. So when we feel overwhelmed, we have too much loaded on our plate. It's just the plain and simple piece of it. So it gets to be a function of saying, how did I allow this to happen? What did I do to put myself in this situation? And whether it's you're just booking your schedule too heavy, or you're not thinking about other commitments and you're oversubscribing your time, filtering as a way to gain focus can be one of the most basic brute force ways to look at it. So let's say, case in point, if you were trying to accomplish something during the course of the week and you got to a point where you didn't do it. I was talking about this recently where, last Friday, I didn't feel great at the end of the week. I had some objectives that I started the week off with, but you know what? I didn't really take a break from week to week, from, wheeling and dealing, traveling and hustling. And then, I get back in town ready to take care of a relevant local business, but I still have the lingering effect or the momentum drawn from the previous week. And I never took that break to recalibrate. So while I had priorities set for the week, what ended up happening is my actions led me in a different direction, and I didn't filter for focus. So I let things take over my calendar. I let things get in my way to keep me tackling things that were important, but they were not the things that were placed as priorities originally. So the list got shuffled up. By the end of the week, you feel what? Overwhelmed, because you don't have enough time to support all the stuff you put on the list. But it goes back to the example of big rocks first, the rocks and then the pebbles in the sand in a jar. you've got to start with the most important things first. So filtering out the things that do not support your primary objective is going to be that key. So if you know that you're trying to, and I mean, you can pick anything. That's the fun part about this. Okay, I want to, you got a long commute to work, but there's a gym near the job and you're trying to get back in shape. You want to go to the gym in the morning. But if you hit too many happy hours every night before the gym, in the next morning with the long commute, you might be setting yourself up for failure because the happy hours are trickling into maybe the later nights out where you tie over one too many, and then that next morning the workout is far from your mind, or you just don't have enough oomph in you or dedication or commitment to stick to it. Is that the case in everybody's scenario? No, I'm not saying just because you have a happy hour you can't hit the gym in the morning, but the tendency is if what is preventing you from getting up early is a little bit of a hangover, a little bit of the night before lingering into the next day, then guess what? You got to filter for the focus. You have to be wise enough and mature enough to run the tapes at the end of the week to say, what did I accomplish? Did I reach my goals, right? It's a very binary thing. Did I do what I set out to do, yay or nay? And if the answer is nay or no, I didn't, what were the things that stopped me? What were the inhibitors? What were the reasons that this didn't happen? Oh, well, because I was too tired in the morning. Okay, well, why were you too tired? I stayed up too late last night. Well, I just stayed up too late. Oh, I was hanging out. I was at happy hour. Oh, okay. Well, then, we can pretty easily correlate an activity that leads to an outcome. And so it literally becomes as simple as saying, well, if you want that same goal set and you want a different result, you have to filter for focus, right? You have to filter certain activities that are going to track from your focus. So many times, the main reason people aren't having success reaching their goal is because they major in minor things. They're focusing on the little things. They're stepping over dollars to pick up dimes. They're putting the things that matter least in front of the things that matter most. And that's not how you generate massive momentum and massive success. So we have to have the mental fortitude to essentially recognize the correlation between what we say we're going to do and then checking up on ourselves to see, did we do it? And if not, then why not? And what needs to change? You may find, stuff happened and I just couldn't get her done. All right, fine. Take that scenario for what it is. Identify it as a unique scenario. Okay, it's not going to be, raining, meteors next week, so you won't have this crisis on your hands to deal with, and you'll be able to get the task done, right? So when you're filtering for focus, you're positioning yourself to not be distracted or thrown off course, essentially more than once. Do me wrong, or do me wrong, shame on you. Do me wrong the first time, shame on you. Do me wrong the second time, shame on me. It's kind of that similar philosophy. Like once you get figured out that there was something that was a key, clear inhibitor to your success, you remove the obstacle, you filter it out so that you can gain greater focus and get better traction on getting to where you want to go. I mean, realistically, a lot of this is basic, but until you put it in the context, sometimes it's more difficult to see. I even have to use this same scenario when I, like I was just explaining, if something doesn't go well for me, okay, what was really behind that? Okay, well, you somewhere along the lines allowed a set of activities to take place that were not in line with your highest priority that you had set for the week. So you got to get that in check. It's just that simple. So whether it's filtering activities, filtering behavior, sometimes it's filtering people, right? If you're going through some mindset challenges for the week, maybe you've had some emotional setbacks or just an event happen in life that's maybe got you a little bit down. It's a great time to say, I need to not be around certain people right now while I rekindle my own strength and fill up my own love tank and heal, right? If you have people in your life when you're going through that happen to be more negative, you should filter them. You should feel, it doesn't mean stop loving them. You just got to love them from a distance for a little while, right? Filter for focus. You can even, in some cases, have to filter family for focus. And that's filtering family for the focus of fixing your feelings. You follow me? So, a little play on words there, but seriously, I mean, it gets to be one of those things where if you recognize there is a direct inhibitor be smart about filtering. And filtering for focus can be quite the tool in really fixing how you feel about things, because the objective is to feel good at the end of the week. A lot of people listening to this are very goal oriented and looking for more ways to level up and hit their goals, and I applaud you. The challenge is we do live in the information age. There is information that is coming at us, and these days we don't find the news finds us, right? And sometimes we got to filter that stuff. It's okay to be informed, but you don't want to be inundated by it. And, it's tricky, right? I've even had situations where I have to filter the facts, in front of family, right? It's okay to be sitting around and hanging out with the fam and enjoying some time and watching some TV. But if the news comes on and it's just spewing negative things in the world, and my kids are sitting right there, after, a few minutes, it's like, hey, it's one thing to know what's going on in the world, but I just don't want them to be just rapid fire hit with all of the reporting of the, all the atrocities of the world. That's just a personal choice. I want to filter some of that information for their focus on fun, their focus on frolicking, their focus on friends, and not the focus on the foes and all the other stuff that they'll eventually get to learn about, but there's no rush in getting into all that right now. So it's just even understanding sometimes there's things that you have to filter, that it's related to family and friends, but it has to do with the focus of the goals that you have for yourself, for your family, for how you want to, raise your children, how you want to, have healthy choices around your lifestyle, around your fuel and your food. So there's so many instances. We really just have to look at the areas of our life that we really want to level up in most. And those are going to be the areas that we have to find ways to filter for focus. If you're trying to work on your spirituality, right? There's a lot of times you have to put some in place, some serious filters for focus. So, you go around the wheel, spiritual, mental, physical, financial, family, business, mindset, in every area. If you want to focus on it, you're going to have to put in place some filters that will allow you or put you in a better position to hit your goals, to allow that focus to take effect. Because what it really boils down is why do we say focus? It stands for follow one course until success. So to be able to do that, we got to filter out all the crap that's throwing us off course, that's making us drift. We got to outwit the devil, right? So hopefully you're following me and this is making sense. I can go on example or after example from my own situations, people I know, things you hear, things you see that just become so apparent. And that's why I get, excited about this and how we can all learn how to see better. Is all these lessons that I'm sharing is generally coming from some other experience I've had, either in the current or in the past, that's just equipping me with a little bit better vision every day. And I see how that's beginning to serve me and reward me with an enhancement in the quality of life that I enjoy. And there's just no reason that some of this information should be free to the world like I'm making it available to you all, and really just hoping that everyone takes from it and takes a sip and shares it with an individual, another, that they can pass it on to and help and give them insight, guidance, hope, and inspiration even, right? So with that, I think I've kind of covered this one pretty well. But filters for focus, that was the theme of today. And look at how you can bring a few of those into your own life. And if you got some unique or interesting ideas that you want to share, please drop those in. I'd love to see how you've all been able to throw in filters for focus in your world and find success in doing so. So that's it for this episode. And until next time, you guys keep learning how to see better. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.